Good afternoon. I'm here with Julian Sear and Thomas Moakley today. Would you please introduce yourselves to our lovely Whaler Word fans?
Sure. Thanks, Vicky, for having us here today. I'm Julian Sear. I represent Nantucket as well as Martha's Vineyard and most of the towns on Cape Cod in the Massachusetts Senate.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Thomas Moakley. I'm a brand new state representative for Falmouth, Martha's Vineyard, and Nantucket.
And what brings you to Nantucket in February?
So we try to come to the island as much as we can. We have a few meetings today. We're going to meet with the select board this evening. We're having some conversations about state support for our island home. What else are we up to today? We're also going to have lunch with some of the older adults that we have here on the island, so it's great that we're able to visit the high school as well as visit with some of the seniors here on the island. It's important that as state legislators, we're not only the representatives of the people up at the State House in Boston, but also sort of the representative of the state in the area, so some of the nonprofits and the local government can make sure that we're taking full advantage of the resources that are out there. And Nantucket being a town, a county, an island altogether, right? There's a whole host of sort of unique policy challenges that we've got to work closely with our municipal partners on here on Nantucket. Nantucket has a whole host of home rule petitions that come to the legislature and a whole host of sort of specific things that we've got to work on. So we try to show up quite a bit. And I guess today we've got a whole spectrum, right? From some of the youngest islanders to some of our oldest we'll be hanging out with.
As we all know, Nantucket's housing crisis is a big issue right now, and it's been a big issue. And I was just wondering, what are some of the solutions that you foresee as it continues to go on?
So this has been our top priority ever since I was first elected to office. This is my 5th term, I've been working on for the last 8 years now with Thomas, prior with Dylan Fernandez. Really, the housing crisis here has been a problem for over 20 years. The pandemic really put that crisis on steroids, and so we saw housing values on the island in just the last 5 years increase over 160%. It's really to the point where almost all people living here year-round who don't yet own a home or going to inherit a home are going to need some sort of support to be able to live here. So we've done quite a bit. Specifically, the legislature passed a $5.1 billion bond package, a very significant bill. The governor filed, we passed, signed into law. There's a provision in that law called the Seasonal Communities Designation, and it gives communities like Nantucket, like Martha's Vineyard, like much of Cape Cod, a whole host of tools to address the housing crisis and to bring to basically subsidize year-round housing, allowing towns to establish a year-round housing trust, which Nantucket already has. Nantucket was the model for this, allowing towns to purchase year-round deed restrictions, so we're going to create a middle market for housing. Another provision that's allowed enables towns to provide housing to their municipal workforce, right? Yeah. Housing for teachers, firefighters, public safety. It's a big one, right? Yeah. So this is a pretty significant policy, probably the biggest thing we've been able to do for the island in a number of years. What we now need to get done is we need a revenue source. We need money to pay for all of this, right? Because it's a very costly problem. So we're going to try to come back. We tried to get this done last session, but we're trying to pass a local option transfer fee. So the ability for towns to put a surcharge on luxury real estate transactions and take that money and put that money to housing. So that's sort of next on the list.
That's awesome.
Senator Sear has been a huge leader on this at the state level, and Nantucketers have been a leader on this as well, because Nantucket is sort of the point of the spear, so to speak, related to the housing affordability crisis. And it's something that affects all industries, small business, government, like the senator was talking about, public safety, teachers. So it's something that now you see the governor, Maura Healey, and the Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll making it a priority of their administration too. So hopefully we'll be able to see some action on the revenue source sometime soon.
Nice, sounds good. And then moving on to another huge topic. How do the wind turbines align with the state's broader strategy for addressing climate change and reducing fossil fuels?
So offshore wind has been absolutely crucial and key towards Massachusetts' goals of getting to net zero carbon emissions by 2050, and then we have different goals at 2030, 2035, 2040. And so a big part of the strategy, and this has been a bipartisan strategy supported by Governor Baker, supported by Governor Healy, is that we should be tapping into this sort of incredible natural resource that we have. Of course, there's quite a bit of uncertainty right now at the federal level, given the Trump administration. We think, though, that for projects that are nearly built or almost fully constructed, like Vineyard Wind, it's going to sort of have minimal effect. There's some question about projects that are fully permitted but have not yet been started. I do think that for projects that are in the earlier stages of permitting, these are more so the projects in the Gulf of Maine, which are really kind of off the shore of the Outer Cape, like my neck of the woods, Province Ontario, Wellfleet. Those will be delayed. But this has been a key part of the strategy around Massachusetts in both looking at how do we move to more renewable energy, and then also how do we move to more affordable energy. I'm sure kids are hearing about the electric bills and the national grid bills folks have been getting just in this last month, and this astronomical increase. Massachusetts is already a really expensive place to live, and we have to be sort of prioritizing energy affordability. So that's been part of our plan. It's a little, there's quite a bit of uncertainty right now as we're sort of figuring it out, but I think practically, Massachusetts really has set offshore wind as part of our strategy, along with hydropower, along with solar. Every single legislative session, we have passed major climate legislation, and I expect we're going to continue to do so because the crisis that we face, I mean, we're living it today, and you can see it, I'm sure, even in your own lifetime, right? How we're seeing stronger storms, higher tides, more erosion. Look, there's some important kind of questions that need to be answered, and certainly this summer with the whole blade failure debacle and a lot of unacceptable things that happened there. But I think this is, broadly speaking, a key part of how we're going to try to get to really meet the moment with the climate crisis.
And this is something where both on environmental policy, but also on climate science and engineering, you see a lot of young people stepping up to lead. And that's something that's really reassuring because, it's an existential crisis and something that we sort of have to make a moral decision to do something about sooner rather than later. And to that degree, too, if any of your classmates are interested in getting involved, please reach out to our offices.
Awesome.
There's summer internship programs that go on at the State House. We love to have Islanders get involved in any way, that you're willing to. If you have any questions, a big part of our role is just helping people to navigate the state government. So please reach out. We're there to help.
Yeah, I think young people really understanding that y'all have some power. And I think showing up really matters. I'm someone who got involved in politics, or at least community organizing, back when I was in high school. We had a big budget override that we ended up passing in the Nauset district. And, I know this can feel like a really overwhelming time right now, but it's really important, and there's a real ability, especially in small town governance, right? When you can come to town meeting, you can come to your select board, show up, stay engaged. We need your generation with some of the big challenges that we're facing.
I think that's all I have for you today. Pretty much covered everything.
Thanks for having us. It's great to be in the school. We're here. I think we're popping in some history classes after this.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
What town are you guys from?
So I grew up in Truro, born and raised in Truro, and I live in Provincetown.
Yep, and I was born and raised in Falmouth. I still live there.